Hello guys, welcome back to Beyond the Realms, and I just want to say first off, thank you to everybody who voted for this movie. This is a guilty pleasure movie review, and the three films that were given to choose from was Star Wars Episode 3, Van Helsing, and then the winner, which was Jonah Hex. This one pretty much overwhelmingly won, which kind of surprised me. For those of you who've never seen this film, it tells a story of Jonah Hex, which is played by Josh Brolin. This takes place during the American Civil War, and he is on the Confederate side, and his commanding officer is Quentin Turnbull, played by John Malkovich. And they get to a point where Quentin wants him to burn down this hospital, and Jonah Hex does not want to do it. He just doesn't think it's right, so he decides he's not going to do it, and things get bad, and he has to end up murdering Quentin's son Jeb. Well, later on, Quentin decides he's going to get revenge on Jonah Hex, so he goes and ties him up and burns his family alive in their house while Jonah watches on. And afterwards, he takes him and brands his initials into Jonah Hex's cheek, QT, and leaves him to die. And so the Indians end up coming along and finding Jonah Hex, and they perform some bizarre ritual on him to bring him, back to life. And they bring him back to life, but they can't bring him all the way back to life. It's kind of weird how they explain it. And basically, Jonah Hex says in an overdub monologue, saying that he came back, but he has these special powers too, to where he can communicate with the dead, to where he can place his hand on someone who's been dead, and it brings them back to life and back to their normal form. Of how they were before they died. And but it's how he explains it is that the longer they've been dead, the longer he can bring them back for. If it's somebody that recently died, they don't last as long. They basically burn up. They start, like, their skin starts burning, and it starts to become very painful for them. And he uses this throughout the film in different spots. So when Jonah Hex comes back, he gets word that Turnbull has been killed. So he basically just decides to live his life as a bounty hunter then. And the opening scene of that is he goes to this town and basically just obliterates this entire town. He has this, I forget what you call them, but it's like a turn-crank machine gun, Gatling gun, I guess that's what they're called. Really cool scene, though. He basically just wipes out an entire town. And then eventually we see that Turnbull is in fact not dead. They take over this train, him and his guys, and President Grant wants to get a hold of Jonah Hex, and he does, and Jonah Hex gets word that Turnbull is still alive. So basically the rest of the film is him trying to get Turnbull, trying to get revenge on him for what he did. Now this film is widely panned. I mean, humongously panned. It had a $47 million budget, and it only made $10 million total at the box office. It was a total bomb. It came out of debut to number 10, and then just fell off the map from there. I did not see this film in the theater. I picked up the Blu-ray, and I like it. I mean, I understand the complaints against it. Like, there are a lot of rushed ideas in this, and I totally get that, especially like the beginning. Like the whole beginning montage is very rushed, where it talks about the stuff with Turnbull and Jeb getting killed. I mean, it all goes very fast, and it goes up to where Turnbull has Jonah Hex's family held hostage. It gets to that point like in under a minute. It's just very quick. But I still enjoy the film. I mean, it's a fun film to me. I think John Malkovich is good as Quentin Turnbull. I liked him, and I love Josh Brolin. I've always really been a big Josh Brolin fan, and I just like him in this role. He's playing a badass guy that's just out to get revenge, and I like it. I like his look too. He's got like the burnt face, and like part of his skin's gone here. You can see his teeth, and he's got another little piece of skin in between that exposed part in his mouth. I just like him in it. Now, Michael Fassbender is also in this, plays a guy named Burke, which is one of Turnbull's henchmen. I think he's very underused in this. I mean, especially considering Fassbender's acting abilities. Like, he's basically just a henchman. I mean, they don't really have anything for him to do in this film. And that's very unfortunate. They should have definitely given him more to work with. But I just, I love the scenery. I love the look of the film. To me, it's just a fun comic book film. That you just don't take something like this too serious. It's basically mindless entertainment. It's something I can put in and just, relax to, and don't have to think a lot on. And I like films like this sometimes. For every, film like Vertigo or something like that I enjoy that really, makes you think and gets your attention, I like a film like this too that's just mindless entertainment. That's all I look at this as. And, despite the opening montage, being very rushed, I love the look of it. Comic book, like the colors, they change a lot of the colors and like the reality part of it, and then when once Jonah Hex, his family gets murdered, it switches over to like this cartoon look, and tells more of the story, what's going on, about how he came back to life and all that. I just love the look of it. It's all animated, just very cool, and I love the parts where he brings the guys back from the dead and questions them. I just love it. And the first time he does it, there's this guy, he's trying to figure out where Turnbull's at, and there's this dead prisoner in his cage, and basically he has to like put dirt on their head and it brings it back. It's very bizarre. It's very weird. There's no denying that. But I just love it. And then later on, he has to dig up one of his friends, or one of his past associates, I guess you could say. It's been dead for a while. And right away, the guy just attacks him because his last memory is dying at Jonah Hex's hand. So Jonah has to restrain him to get information out of him. I love that aspect of this film. I think it's very cool. But guys, I mean, it is a bad film. I mean, I'm not going to lie about that, but it is certainly a guilty pleasure of mine. And as you can see here, it also has Megan Fox in it that plays a prostitute. And she basically has no point in this movie whatsoever except for being eye candy. And I mean, I totally understand that. There's nothing wrong with that. She's something good to look at on the screen amongst all these rugged men, And but she just really doesn't have a place in this. And one thing I never understood with her scenes, it's kind of weird, is there's always like this soft glow to her whole appearance when they show her. I don't know if they were just trying to make her look more angelic or what, but it only has that soft glow look to the film on her. Like nobody else, none of the other characters, even in the same scenes that she's in, has that look. So I don't understand why they did that, but she basically just has the eye candy point in this film. It's basically the only point to having her in this whatsoever. But I love the film a lot. I just think it's good, mindless fun, and I don't know. Maybe some of you out there should maybe give it a shot again. I don't know. Don't go in this expecting any high art at all. Don't go into it expecting the best comic book adaptation of all time, because it's certainly not any of those things. But it's still a fun film. And, also another thing I forgot to mention I really like about this is Brent Hines from Mastodon did the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack he did. It's very minimalistic, but it has like grinding guitars in the background, just, guitar note that's played out, just strummed and played out. I like it. It's very simplistic, but it works for the story. And I also like this weapon of mass destruction that Turnbull ends up getting, where he's trying to basically take over the Union with this and trying to destroy places. And there's a part where he destroys an entire town with this weapon as he's testing it out. I think's very cool. But, despite all of its problems, I just think that it has a lot of good virtues in it that a lot of people just overlooked. Give it a shot again, I mean, it's, the plot, there's plot holes in it. It's really rushed at times. But, it's still fun. And you know, I can't compare it to Jonah Hex, the comic book, because I've never read even one issue, so I don't know. So, you know, I'm sure if I knew more about Jonah Hex, the comic book, and watched this, I would probably not like it as much because I'm sure it's far off from what the comic is. I'm sure of that. So I don't know. Maybe that's another reason why I enjoy it. Is just, you know, being ignorant to the fact of the real story of it. So, well, not real, but you know what I mean. But anyway, guys, that is Jonah Hex. I appreciate once again everybody who voted in on this. This was, you know, a lot of people got in on this, so I will probably do this again. I'll pick out some more guilty pleasure films and let you guys decide. Maybe next time I'll do horror, or maybe I'll do comedy. Who knows? I'll pick out 3 films though and let you guys decide. So hope you enjoyed this review. Hope everybody's doing well. You all have a good one.